Hello friends, welcome to Testing Shala YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to discuss about 20 API testing interview questions which you can prepare yourself, and I'm going to answer you in detail how to answer these interview questions very effectively in any interviews. So before get to know which are those 20 interview questions on API testing, if you guys are not subscribed to Testing Shala YouTube channel, then please click on subscribe and bell notification so that all our future videos will be in your inbox as in when we publish our new videos. So let us move on to the first interview question, which is what is API testing? What is API testing? So API testing is also nothing but a program. It is a program. Basically, it takes care of taking the input and it processes it and it sends back the output. That is the overall functions of an API. It's a small function, or you can call it as an application programming interface that enables to do a certain aspects, right? As as I was saying, so it comprises number of subroutine definitions. Basically, each API it does its standard operations, well-defined operation, and it is also having logs and various tools to create these APIs as well, right? Some of the APIs, if you can see here, right? Maps API. If you think about Google Maps API, anybody can access this Maps API from their applications. Basically, when you're trying to call these maps, it asks for certain parameters, right? Then it start giving the result to the application where you are trying to call that, right? In the similar way, Amazon advertising API, Twitter APIs, YouTube APIs, because these are the standard set of program or a software which can be called from anywhere to do a specific operations, right? That is called as an API. Say you wanted to call an YouTube, right? You wanted to call your YouTube video from your website or your application, then you can use YouTube API. In the same way, you would like to call Twitter, so then you can use Twitter API. Then you would like to call an Amazon advertising in your application, you can call Amazon APIs. Second question is, what is the difference between an API and a web service? So web services are normally operates in these three styles: SOAP, REST, and XML. These are the protocols. So protocol, REST protocol, XML. So these are the way these web services are exposed. Web services are exposed. So web services are nothing but which works on the internet, right? It requires a network to operate these web services, right? But API can work as a standalone as well without needing a network. Within the same system, we can have multiple APIs. But if you would like to call web services, you would definitely require a network. It can be connected from one network to the another network, one computer to another computer. We can call that services is called as a web services. So let us move on to the third question. Is there any limits of API usage? So there are certain usage limits will be there. If you're talking about Google, so they have their limitation, especially like Google Maps. So they will give free for 1,000 usage. Then after that they'll charge. In the similar way, Amazon APIs, they would like to limit to the certain extent for the free usage. Then they won't start charging to the customer, because otherwise maintaining those APIs would be very challenging. So hence they will always trying to charge to the APIs which they wanted to use it in a commercial way. So let us move on to the next question. So what are some of the architectural styles for creating a web API? So how will you go into creating a web API, right? So web API can be created in one of these four ways, right? One is using a HTTP for client server communication. You can use XML or JSON format, or a simple URI or a stateless communication. You can use any of these communication style or architecture styles while creating a web API. The next question is, what is an API testing? So API testing, it is also kind of a testing, right? Which is also called as a functional testing. API testing is a kind of software testing which we are going to test an API to meet whether it is really working as expected, right? Whether if you would like to test Google Maps API, then we are going to test all the aspects of Google Maps, whether if I can access through this API, everything Google Maps really works or not. So basically, we are going to check the functionality, we are going to check the reliability, we are going to check the performance and security and so on. This is all about API testing. So then what are the advantages of API testing? What are the advantages of API testing? There are four advantages which I talked about in this. So one is you can test your core functionality very effectively. Here we are not talking about just UI, right? We are talking about a business logic. So where we would like to test a business logic, then API testing is very crucial, right? Especially when you wanted to test at the code level your functions, then it is always good to go with API testing, and also you're not completely depending on UI testing. Because of that, you can write the API test cases well before, right? That is how you should see the biggest advantage in API testing. And also, which is a time effective. The API testing is normally it consumes less time in automating as well as executing as well. GUI testing requires a lot of time to go through each and every section, each and every page, each and every UI element to test it. But API, it does everything in the back end, right? Where you cannot see in your eyes, still it does its work in the API, right? That is the second best advantages of API testing. Then the third one is API testing is based on XML or JSON perspective, right? As XML and JSON, it is not dependent on any particular programming language. XML and JSON can be used in any programming language. That is how we say it's a language independent. Then the fourth one is it is easy to integrate with the GUI, right? Because it is a core functionality, it can be tested, the code, then it is very easy to integrate with any GUI application, this API size as well. Hence, these are the some of the important advantages of API testing. So what are the common protocols used in the API testing? So this is also very important questions. They ask what are the different types of protocols being used while testing an API, right? So we'll have to say JMS, right? Java Messaging Service, REST API, HTTPI, UDDI, or SOAP, right? These are the some of the protocols we can use while testing an API. So what is the test environments for API? So how will you going to set up an API test environment? Is it easy? Setting up an API test environment, it is not an easy task because it would be requires a lot of the environment which is more specific to the development as well. How the developer is going to set up his environment, right, for their unit testing. Similar kind of environment you should also be adapting as part of your test environment as well. Hence, it is a little time consuming. It is not like a GUI, like where I install the application, then UI will pop up, right? I'll be start testing it. That is not the way it is going to work. It is having its own different methods. It is similar to the dev environment, how you are going to set up. Then similar to that, you should also set up for test environment, and you should be running your tests on top of it. The next question is, what are the common API testing types? So API testing types also can be like you can do a validated testing, functional testing, UI testing, load testing, runtime or error detection, security, penetration, fuzz testing, and compliance. So these are the some of the various types of testing you can perform using an API. So what is the procedure to perform an API testing? So here we should explain what is the way you are going to perform an API testing. First, you should identify the test cases. Once you are able to identify the test cases and you are able to group everything, right, your test cases, then you have to choose the development mode. So how you are going to write these test cases, right? What kind of programming languages you'll be using, or whatever the way you are going to write these API test cases, then you will be writing that. Then when you are able to write all the methods for testing that APIs, right, then you should set up an dev environment. Then you should start executing these test cases against those API testing. Whatever the validation you would like to perform on those tests, also you should clearly call out in those tests. Then when you are able to execute these tests, then you will be getting the test results, and you should validate each test cases about the pass or fail in all the test cases. Then you will be producing the result to the leadership team, right? And also you should group these test cases in such a way that when somebody wants to execute on a particular area, then it is very easy to for you to execute those test cases. Hence, it is grouping is always good to have it. So what must be checked when performing in API testing? So basically, when you are performing an API testing, what are the things you should validate? Because when you are giving an input to an API, right, finally you are going to validate the output, which is a response, right? So in that, what are the things you are going to validate? So one is, what is the accuracy of the data which is coming out as a response, and what is the schema validation, what is the HTTPS status, whether it is getting 200 or different error codes, what are the data types, whatever we are expecting the similar data type is coming out or is coming totally different. And you should also be checking the authorization check, is anybody can send a request and getting a response to it, right? Because if it is a security related API, then you should validate all those aspects. And also you should check for, if you are going to delay your if you send a request, is it consuming too much time, and its response is getting timed out, and what are the different error codes which are arranged by the development team, and same error codes are we getting or not, right? And you also be testing about non-functional like performance security aspects for all these API testing. These are the some of the aspects normally we'll be seeing when we're testing in API testing. So what is the best approach to perform an API testing? So here are the some of the various aspect which we consider while performing an API testing. One is defining the correct input parameter. This is very much needed, because when you are not planning your inputs properly, then definitely you cannot expect the right responses in API, right? Hence, you should always consider defining the correct input parameters, and verify the calls of the mixture of two or more added value parameters. Define the basic functionality and the scope of the API program. And you should be writing the appropriate test cases using appropriate testing techniques. This is very crucial, because there are various techniques are available, right? You should take those techniques and try to bring an effective test cases. And also, once this is done, so you will be going for an executions. When you are done execution, you will be comparing your test results with the expected results, and you should also be validating whether what is your API behavior and various connections such as files or so on, right? These are the some of the best approaches you should take care when you're performing an API testing. So what are the different tools you would be using? So this is also very important questions would be asked in your interview. Or can you name some of the tools which is available in the market which you can use for testing and API testing? So here are the some of the important tools which is commercially available like Catalan Studio, you have Postman, you have SOAP UI Pro, Tricentis Tosca, API. So these are the some of the tools which we can normally use for unit testing or API testing, right? Then the next question would be this normally the question would be asked, what is the difference between API testing and an unit testing? The first thing is normally API testing will be done by our testing team, right? Unit testing will be done by the development team, right? And especially in agile, things may getting changed or things may getting swapped. It may happen that developer only may do both API and unit testing, but testing person is there, then this would be done by the tester itself. So API testing is purely a kind of a block box testing, so where we are not much worried about what is inside how the code has been written. But unit testing, it doesn't happen like that. It's purely a white box testing where developer will look into the every piece and parcel of the code. The next difference is you will be testing full functional system from end-to-end perspective, but developer would be only specific to each module you would be testing it. Testing would be executed as a whole. When the build is ready for you to test, then you would be testing that where developer cannot go and change them when things are running, right? But in your testing, it doesn't happen like that. He can go and change the code himself because he's having a complete access to it. Then what are the difference between the API testing and an UI testing? So API testing enables you to connect two software systems. Let's say one is your application and another application which is Google API or Google Maps. Then I will interact between these two application which is through an API, right? That's how you should look into that. But in terms of UI, so basically, yeah, for a given application, there is an user interfaces to access that application, right? That is how we'll have a look and feel for the application, and there is a different fonts, images, layouts, and so on, right? That is the main difference between the API testing and the UI testing. So, what are the some of the major challenges faced in the API testing? The major challenges faced in the API testing is basically the parameters. The what is the kind of different parameters you would be passing. You would be passing just to ensure that you get the best results or you get the best output as part of the API testing. And also, you should also ensure that you would be sending various combinations of parameters for this API testing and also call sequencing, right? Output verifications, and there are various challenges, right? Majorly, you would be concentrating on the kind of inputs which you are providing to the API, and also you're expecting what is the response getting out of those APIs. That is a major things you are going to test it as part of the API testing. So, what are the testing methods that come under API testings? Under API testing, you can do unit testing and functional testing. You can also do load testing to perform a given API, whether it can really take that kind of load or not. And you'll also be testing creation, deletion of the number of calls which are calling for API. Usability and reliability testing also you would be performing just to ensure that your results are accurate, and you will also be doing security and penetration testing to validate all types of authentication and authorizations. And you can also perform an automation testing to automate your API tests, and here you would be more performing end-to-end integration and web UI testing. You will also be performing API testing to determine especially documentation effectiveness. These are some of the different methods which we normally adopt while we are performing an API testing. So why API testing considered as the most suitable form of automation testing? Because these days what is happening, earlier we were morely focusing on UI testing, but now entire industry is moving towards taking things shift left method, where they wanted to test more from the coding perspective than moving to the UI. Hence, their more focus is coming under the API testing, where they will be more focusing on the testing all the functionalities, all core functionality by using the code itself, right? Then once the core logic is everything is fine, then they are integrating with that core logic to your UI. That is all the funda. Hence, more preference being given to the API testing these days to bring an automation in this API testing area. So what are the common API errors that often we can found as part of the API testing? This is a very important question, normally will be asked in your interview questions. So basically some of the important errors you may find out here is when there is a missing modules or a documentation error or a parameters errors or some of the standard errors. These are the some of the error messages. Also can be some of the specific error message. If you are expecting something is not coming, then that is also some of the errors which you may see it. These are the some of the errors which you can name it when they are asking in an interview. Then what kind of bugs you really you find when you're performing API? This is very crucial. This may be good question to be asked just to ensure that you are really worked in API testing or not. Hence, have a better understanding what kind of normally bugs you are logged, and takes few examples also when you're trying to answer in your interview. The missing or duplicate functionality, fail to handle error conditions, stress, reliability, security, right? Unused blocks, not implemented errors, inconsistency error handling, performance, multi-threading issues, improper error messages. These are the some of the very high level bugs you may find it in API testing. So these are the some of the 20 important test cases which I called out in this video. I'm hoping these 20 interview questions for API testing was really useful for you. If you're finding this video very helpful for you, then please give a thumbs up to this video. And if you guys are not subscribed to Testingshala YouTube channel, then please subscribe and bell notification so that all our future videos will be in your inbox. Thanks for watching this video. Bye for now. Take care.